Igor Akinfeev played his first game for the Russian team being just 18 and 20 days old, making the youngest goalkeeper debut in the history of Russia. In April 2004 he started his first game in a national team shirt against Norway. Though that evening Igor missed 3 goals, losing 2-3, Akinfeev still eventually became the permanent number 1 in the Russian team. He played 110 games and broke many records. So let's see which other famous players made their debut for their country at early age. This is Top 10 National Team Debuts, let's go! In 10th place is Sigurður Jónsson from Iceland. If you're a devoted Arsenal fan, you should remember him and his performances for the London club in the late 80s. Sigurður spent his first match for the national team being just 16 years and 251 days old against Bulgaria. Most often it happens that after a bright start there's a big decline, but Jónsson wasn't one of them, as he continued leading his team for another 15 years. His goal against Spain in Euro 92 qualifier says it all. The Icelander is rightfully in the 10th spot today. 9th, Croatian midfielder Alen Halilovic. And it's a story about how a young player could not live up to expectations. The start of his career was fantastic, the youngest debutant in the history of Croatian championship with Dinamo Zagreb, the youngest goal scorer, even Barca was interested in his talent. Alen was scouted by the national team when he was just 16 years and 359 days old. He played 7 games and that's it. The midfielder is no longer called up for international games, he is on loan every season, and even in Milan he manages to not make it to the first team. However, he's only 22, so it's not too late to fix everything. The youngest player in his top is Stephen Appiah from Ghana. The first time he went out on a pitch in the shirt of his national team, he was just 14 years and 323 days old. At that age, most of us were probably playing football with friends in the yard, but this guy was already doing it on the international level. And his career as a whole was not too bad actually. Italian Cup, Italian Super Cup, Turkish Prem and a Turkish Super Cup, not bad at all. Yes, we all know that in Africa they sometimes like to change around the age of the football player, and Appiah is probably no exception, but anyway, according to the official figures, he is still the youngest one. 7th, Nuri Sahin, born in Germany, but unlike Özil and Emre Can, decided to play for his historic homeland, the national team of Turkey. After the Dortmund Academy, he was considered one of the main talents of his generation, and it's not surprising that he was called up to the national team at 17 years and 33 days old. It's interesting that the first game for Turkey was against the Germans. 2 minutes in the game and Nuri sends the ball into the Oliver Kahn's net. Sahin's career turned out great. Dortmund, Madrid, Liverpool, then Dortmund again, but it would be even better without its frequent injuries. 6th place, Martin Odegaard. The whole world learned about the schoolboy on January 15th when he signed a contract with Real Madrid. Martin generally started very early. He's the youngest debutant and the goal scorer in the history of Norwegian Premier League. He was scouted by the national team when he turned 15 years and 253 days old. His career was not spoiled by injuries, his career was spoiled by money. When you're 16 and you get more than 2 million euros, it's hard to keep thinking about football. Odegaard played for Castilla for 2 years, then moved to Vitesse in Holland. 5th, David Alaba. That all-round player from Bayern could well play for the national team of Nigeria or the Philippines, but chose Austria, where he became a crucial player. His debut happened in a match against France at 16 years and 112 days old. David's position on the field always changes, his ability to lead his country never does. He became a Football Player of the Year in Austria 6 times and got into the UEFA Team of the Year 3 times. Now the defender is only 22 and he will continue to do everything for his team and is not even close to finishing his career. Theo Walcott is the youngest debutant of the England national team. The attacker signed his first professional contract in early 2006, but already in the summer he left for the World Cup in Germany with his national team. His first appearance on a field in the national team jersey happened when the guy was just 17 years and 75 days old. So that debut was already 12 years ago, but he only managed to play 45 games for England. Early debut and permanent injuries did not allow the young talent to fully realize his potential, but Theo is still one of the fastest players in the world. In the 3rd place is another African whose age was doubted by Jose Mourinho himself, Samuel Eto'o played his first game for the national team when he was just 15 years and 364 days old. Barcelona legend played 118 matches for the national team, scored 56 goals and became the top scorer in the history of the Cameroonian national team. For his country, Samuel won 2 African Cups in the Olympics, has repeatedly been recognized as the best footballer of the continent, and we won't even try listing all his achievements at the club level. Now Eto'o is 37 and is playing in Qatar, so it's hard to imagine him returning to the national team. In the second place is the main star of Real Madrid right now, Gareth Bale. Welshman, a defender back then, went onto the field in the national team shirt being just 16 years and 315 days old. Only then did Tottenham coach Harry Redknapp transferred Gareth into the midfield, where he was able to open up and become a world-class star. We all saw how Bale leads his team at the Euros 2016, where he almost single-handedly led his country into the semi-finals. He now has 30 goals scored for the national team. Well, in the first place, of course, is the king of football, Pele. The Brazilian made his debut at the age of 16 years and 259 days, and in the very first game he scored a goal against the Argentinians. Already then it became clear that he would forever write his name in the history of football. In 14 years in the national team, Pele managed to become the only footballer in the World Cup history who won it 3 times. He also became his country's top goal scorer, and in general did a lot of things that no one will ever be able to repeat. Just check out the film Pele, Birth of the Legend, and you'll immediately understand everything.